Hi friends, good morning. Welcome to your barre class. Before we get started, just want to remind you to check the weekly suggested program if you're looking for a little bit of guidance as far as what you should be doing each week for workouts. It's just a suggestion, but I've labeled everything by date, and the classes are arranged in order. If there's quick workouts, you're going to do the first one, second, third. So they're in order. It takes a lot of the guesswork out for you, and I plan these classes similar to what I'm teaching in studio. So the equipment's going to vary. The muscles that we're hitting are going to be planned properly so that you're not over or underworking any area of the body. And of course, take rest days as needed. If you have any questions on this weekly program or fitness in general, anything, please let me know. All right, back to our class. Equipment for today is a set of light weights. I'm using a set of 3-pound weights, so I have 6 pounds total. And then 2 yoga blocks if you have 2. If you only have 1, don't worry, grab that one. And then bring a Pilates ball as a substitution for the second one. So you're gonna be just fine if you only have 1. All right, friends, as soon as you have your equipment and your water and you're ready to warm up, you can press play on this video. Feet straight down from the hips, please. And then we're going to raise one heel. Let's alternate heel raises. And this is a really good time to kind of focus on your breathing, that 360-degree breathing. So as we breathe, we want to be sure we're expanding the ribs in all directions, especially the back of those ribs. So really focusing on the breathing for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's raise and lower the heels together. I have a tiny bend in my knees. I'm focusing on keeping my core bracing and also on that breathing. And my shoulders are relaxed and down. 4, 3, 2, last one. Let's walk our feet wider than hips. We're going to begin these toe taps. We're picking the entire foot up off the floor and then tapping that big toe down as far out to the side as we can. Let's add an arm reach. Arm reach is straight up for the ceiling, and we continue to take the leg out to the side, just creating length in the side of the body, building some energy for 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's take arm across the chest. Our hand is sweeping in the opposite direction of our foot, and we're making sure we're not rotating in the torso. I'll show you what that looks like. It looks like this. So try to keep your shoulders and chest square straight ahead for 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll go up 4, 3, 2, 1, across for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go up 2, across for 2, up for 2, and across for 2. Last time up 2, last time across. And then from here, walk your feet out nice and wide, wider than hip distance, and then we're gonna take an external rotation. So find your natural turnout here. Tailbone down, shoulders down, bend the knees, and rise. We're making sure we're not sticking our butt out here. We're also not doing a huge tuck under with the tailbone. Just think heavy tailbone, pointed straight down at the floor, and focus on keeping the chest up so we're not leaning forward. I'll show you, that looks like this, like you're sliding down a wall for 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's take it back down. And then from here, just a little tiny hip lift. We're pressing the floor away with our feet to raise the hips just 1 inch. And then let's circle the arms back. With your hip lifts, try to be really controlled so you're not bouncing. We want to think every time, lift, instead of using momentum to kind of just bounce up and down. So really think about that lift for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's reverse the circles. Keep the little hip lifts going. And we're really breathing here. Ribs expand for 4, 3, 2, and 1. From here, we're going to round our spine Arms do a little hug, and then open chest, long spine. So the spine movement here, we're going into spinal flexion, similar to the cat from cat and cow. So really focus on the roundness in that spine. And then when we bring the chest up, lengthen crown of your head up to the ceiling. 2 more. Last one. Let's rise up. We're going to turn our feet to parallel, and then I always turn sideways here. You can stay where you are. We're going to dive forward. With a flat back, my heels are pressing down towards the floor, and then watch the back of the knees. It's just a little bend extend. And notice my hip height isn't changing. I'm keeping my tailbone lifted. I'm gonna show you what we want to avoid is this. Good, so try to keep everything still. We're just stretching up the back of the legs. You'll feel this all the way from your Achilles up into the glutes for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring our knees to a bend. We're gonna heel toe, feet under hips, and then let your head hang. So neck is completely relaxed before we roll up. I like to just take that 1 second of relaxation before we start. Good, a couple shoulder rolls back. Good, let's do 2 more. Last one. All right, friends, we're going to begin center of the room with our weights and 1 block. You can also hold on to the bar here if you feel wobbly. Just use 1 weight and then hold on to the bar on the side rather than in front of you. So you're gonna just be profile if you need that extra support. Otherwise, let's place our block in front of our left foot. Feet are gonna be in parallel, and then I want you to take a big step forward with your right foot, and you're gonna lift your back heel. So your left heel comes up, and then we're gonna bend the knees. So we're gonna check this block position. Make sure this block is comfortable if we need to come down here and take a break. So let's rise back up now that we have our block set. And then I want you to just bend the knees. We're gonna bring the weights to our shoulder and rise. Range of motion is up to you. I'm tapping my shin on the block, but you don't have to. You do not have to come down that low. And if you want to, you can stay here the entire time and just do the arms. 2 more. Good, last one, and then we're going to add on. So we're gonna take it down, press overhead, and rise. Down, press, and rise. I want you to really focus right here on keeping your shoulders relaxed and down. So we're raising the weights, we're not raising our shoulders. If you feel yourself shrugging here, really focus on keeping shoulders away from the ears. 2 more. Last one. Let's take it back down to our lunge. And then from here, I want you to extend your back leg. We're gonna hinge forward, extending the arms, and then come back to our lunge, bending the arms as we bring the weights to shoulders. Good, try to keep your arms really close to the sides of your body. As you hinge, you have 4. We're bending really deeply into that forward leg as we hinge. 2. Last one. Let's take it back to our hinge. So from here, roll your shoulders back and down. I want you to do a little lift and then squeeze, squeeze. So the squeeze is like a clap that we're not quite reaching. Lift, squeeze, squeeze. Keeping that big bend in your forward leg, and then we're pressing through our heel on our back leg. So you'll feel a really nice hip flexor stretch. 2 more, lift, squeeze, squeeze. Last one, lift, squeeze, squeeze. From here, we bend our back knees, circle the weights in front of the chest, and hinge. Beautiful. Feeling that right glute as you hinge. Try to be really controlled here so we're not flinging our weights or swinging them. You have 4, 3, 2, and 1. From here, you can rest on your block if you want to. I'm going to turn to face you here. So you can rest on your block if you want, or you can hover. We're going to take our left arm, you're going to lower down, and then opposite arm, you're going to pull back, twisting from above the belly button. So think about keeping your hip bones pointed straight ahead as you twist. Really long spine on the twist, so focus on space between the vertebrae. Crown of the head is lifted. Our core is bracing. 2 more, please. Last one. From here, we're gonna lower this weight, and then let's take our heel up with us. Lower and lift. So you could be hovering over the blocks the entire time if you want a little bit of a challenge. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's hold the heel up. Weights to heart, we're gonna rise up just over the block and then just a little tiny pulse up. Forward heel can go down if you need to. Little pulse for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come on up. Good work, friends. Punch it out a little bit if you need to. So this glute worked really hard. This quad worked really hard. We're gonna switch. Block is going in front of your opposite foot. For me, it's my right. If you did the opposite of me, don't worry about it. Just switch sides. And then big step forward. Raising our back heel, we're gonna come down first just to make sure we're in the right alignment here. Knee is right under hip. And then once we have our block set up, we rise. Let's take it back down, bringing the weights to shoulders. Try to keep the crown of your head pointed up at the ceiling so we're not doing this. We're not hinging yet. Try to keep chest up. 2 more here. Last one. And then we add on. We're gonna take it back down and then a press and rise. Remember, on our press, we're not letting our shoulders come up. So I always actively think pulling my shoulders down away from my ears. You have 4, 3, 2. Last one, friends. Good, let's take it back down. And then from here, I want you to extend your back leg. We're gonna hinge, sink a little deeper into that forward leg, and then bring chest up, crown of head up to the ceiling. Hinge and lunge. Making sure we're not swinging our weights. We wanna really control them. For 4. Keep a deep bend in that forward leg. 3, 2. Last one. Let's take it back to our hinge. So back leg is straight, pressing through the heel. We have a big bend here. We're going to lift, squeeze, squeeze, lift, squeeze, squeeze. Make sure you're not looking down at your forward foot. Look out maybe 4 or 5 feet in front of your toes to keep your neck in line with spine. Squeeze, squeeze, lift, squeeze, squeeze. 2 more. Hello, triceps. Last one, squeeze, squeeze. And then we're going to circle the arms in front of the chest, bringing our knee down towards the block and hinge. And you can do this whole thing here on your block if you need support. Slow for 4, 3, 2. Last one. Let's hold it here. We're going to rest on our block, or you can hover, and I'm going to face you. Up to you if you want to be hovering or on the block. And then we're going to lower our weight next to our forward leg, raise and twist. Good, so we're standing up with our spine really tall. So think tailbone, pressing down towards the floor, crown of your head lifting up, and then your shoulders are pulling down away from your ears. 4, 3, 2, last one. And then from here, we're gonna lower our arm and then raise your heel with your weight. So heel and arm are moving together. 4 more, please. You got this. 3, 2, last one. Let's hold our heel up. We're gonna bring weights to our heart and then just hover up over that block and little tiny lifts. Try to keep your hips square. Don't let this one come back. So hips are square. Forward heel can be lifted or down if you need to for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come on up. Good work, friends. So you can set one weight aside, and then we're gonna come over to our bar, sticking with our block and one weight. The block is going to be angled at a 45-degree angle towards the bar. And then I want you to step your opposite foot out wider than hips. So we're in a wide second. We have a big bend here. We want to keep our hip bones level. So if we straighten this leg, hip bones are out of alignment. So bend here, little bend here. And then palm points out away from you, shoulders back and down. Let's do a bicep curl, and then we're going to push that weight up at a 45-degree angle. So we're raising it, and then we're taking it slightly out away from the body, feeling that core connection here as you raise the weight. Here's 4, 3, 2, and then here's our last one. We're gonna dip down. So we're gonna bend the knees, bring the weight up by the side of your head. We're gonna do a little dip here, and then we rise. So it's plie, dip, and rise. Be careful that your shoulders aren't rounding forward here. If you feel that happening, you can always take your weight behind your hips, but try not to move your chest here. I'll show you what that looks like. It looks like this. Okay, I want you to keep it here. Maybe you don't bring it down all the way if going in front or behind your leg is causing you to move your shoulders. That's a common one I see. So kind of play around, see what works for you to keep this here. Good, last one. Drop, dip, rise, and then we're gonna take it back down. From here, we're gonna keep this foot on the floor. Extend your leg, and then we're gonna bring our knee, our shoulder, everything closer to the bar. And bring it down with a press. Good, so everything shifts into a lateral lunge. So we're bringing everything closer to the bar, and then we're coming down to center. Hips are right in between your feet. Side lunge and press. 4 more, please. You can always set your weight down. You can always get rid of that block. Last 2. Good, last one. From here, let's lower the elbow, raise the heel. We're keeping our elbow the same shape, so the bend isn't changing. We're just lowering it. So you're gonna feel lots of lats here, and then you're gonna feel calf muscle, inner thigh on the leg for 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's take the elbow back down, heel is up. We're gonna circle the arm in front of the shoulder. Nothing else moving. Check and make sure your hip bones are level here. And then bring your gaze back up after you check. You have 4, 3, 2, last one. Let's take it back up. From here, little dip with the hips, and then just raise your elbow 1 inch. Little dip and lift for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come on up. All right, friends, kick it out a little bit and then keep your weight in the same hand. We're going to turn our block so it's parallel to your bar. And then I want you to stand on your block with your outside foot farthest from the bar. Inside foot is going to be right next to outside. And then arm out in front at chest height. I want you to do a little squat. So we're going to sit in an imaginary chair, pull the weight to shoulder, and rise. So this leg never ever gets straight. You can focus, maybe you have a mirror at home, you can check and see if your hips are the same height. If this hip is higher, I want you to bend your knee a little deeper for 4, 3, 2, last one, friends. Let's take it back down. From here, we're gonna just lift the heel and tap. Lift, tap, lift, tap. Nothing else moving. Lower belly pulls up and in to support the spine for 4, 3, 2, 1 more tap, and let's take the heel back up. From here, we're in our squat. I want you to do a little pulse down for 3, 2, 1, and then we're gonna raise the leg and reach the arm out. 3, 2, 1, take it out. 3, 2, 1, and reach. So watch out for this hip hiking up as you lift the leg. I'll show you what that looks like. It looks like this. That's an exaggeration, of course, but I want you to think keeping the hip bones level. 2 more, 3, 2, 1, reach. Last time. Let's take it back up to that reach. So leg is out. I want you to make sure hip bones are the same height. And then from here, flex your foot. We're gonna drive our heel down and then point, sweep it up. Flex down, point up. As you drive your heel down, I want you to think lengthening out of your hip socket, okay? So think about your femur pulling down, creating space in that joint. Really straight leg. 2 more. Last time. Let's hold it up and then arms and legs, or both legs and arms together. We're gonna do a bend, extend, bend, extend. Doing about a halfway bend. It's a little bigger than like a teeny bend, but it's not a huge 90-degree bend. We're going about 45 degrees. Try not to lean back for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take arm up, flex the foot, this hip down, and then, whoops, I almost fell over. And then little tiny lift, lift, lift. You have 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. That was a close one. And then from here, you can keep your block right where it is. So you have a pretty good space between the block and the bar. And then knee goes on, outside leg extends. Rest your weight, and then I want you to crease from your hip so that your hip stays right over your knee to lean to the bar. So we're not doing this. That doesn't work very well. So keep this straight up and down. Let's lift the leg, tap, lift, tap. One of these days I'm going to do a blooper reel of all like the cringy things I said, times I almost fell, lift and tap. There's a lot of material there for 4, 3, nice long spine, 2, and 1 more. Let's hold it up, and then I want you to bring your leg forward. We're gonna tap down, tap behind. The most important thing here is that we're not moving our torso. I'll show you, it looks like this. See how I'm kind of migrating with my entire body? I want you to move only the leg, really brace the core. Good, let's do 1 more back. 1 more forward, and then hold it up. From here, I want you to stretch your legs super straight and then release. So it's a tiny bend. I want you to think about just the reach, reach, reach. So the bend is gonna happen automatically as we release that super straight stretch. Reach 4, 3, 2, last one. Let's hold it here. And then we're gonna place the weight behind our knee. Hand comes up in front of your forehead. We're going to rise. Bring your shoulders over your hips. Side lift and lean, creasing from the hips. We're gonna bring it shoulders up, side lift, and lean. Good, so long spine, core is bracing, and side for 4, 3, 2, last one. Let's hold that side lift and then just a little tiny lift up, up. Try not to let your knee drop below that starting point. Little lift up, up. You have 4, 3, 2, and 1. Grab your weight. You can set it aside and then come on up off the block. Feet together and then drop your hip away from the bar and then reach back towards the wall. All right, friends, we're going to repeat that entire series for the second side of our body. So you can switch sides with your bar. And then we'll begin with our block at that 45-degree angle, really close to your bar to start. And then foot on, let's walk our opposite foot out so it's wider than hips. And then make sure your heels are in line here. So one isn't back or forward, really, really important. Bend here, micro bend here. Palm out, shoulders back. We're going to do a bicep curl and then raise your weight out of 45. Making sure you're breathing here. We're standing up nice and tall and lower. You have 4, 3, 2. Here's our last one. And then from here, we're gonna take the weight up by our head. We're going to plie, do a little dip, rise, drop, dip, rise. And be careful of shoulders moving. So maybe just bring your weight right down next to your leg, or if you feel shoulders are rounding forward, you can even take it back if you wanted to. Just watch what your chest is doing if you can. You have 4, dip, rise. Last 2, dip, rise, last one. Let's take the weight back up by our head. And then from here, I want you to shift your entire body closer to the bar. We're extending this leg, knee gets closer, hip gets closer. And then we come back down and press. Reach and press. So in your lunge right here, I want you to really think about lengthening this leg and sinking deeper into this leg. Reach and up. Here's 4. Last 2. You got this. Last one. From here, keep your elbow in the same shape. We're gonna lower elbow to ribs, raise the heel. It is okay if you need to set your weight down or switch to a lighter weight. Here's 4, 3, 2, and last one. From here, we're gonna bring the elbow back down, heel is lifted, and then we're gonna circle the elbow in front of the shoulder, keeping the arm in a 90-degree bend. So the bend isn't changing. Try not to rotate at all in your torso or shoulders. Try to keep this really still for 4. Check hip bones, make sure they're the same height. 3, might need to adjust, bend in your knees to compensate. Last one. Let's take it back up. From here, little dip with the hips, raise that elbow. Good, tailbone pointed straight down, not a big tuck here, no butt sticking out. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come on up. All right, friends, we're gonna turn our block parallel and then slide it out in front of your outside foot. Foot farthest from the bar, steps on. And then feet are in parallel, narrow stance. Let's take the arm out to about chest height. So make sure it's not up here. Keep it about here, chest height. And then I want you to sit in a chair as we draw our weight to our shoulders. Always a bend in this knee, even when I stand. I have a pretty big bend here. I'm trying to keep my hip bones the same height. It helps if you have a mirror at home. I like people to focus on how it feels, but sometimes it's good to just check in so your body remembers how it feels when you keep your hips level here. 2 more. Last one. Let's take it back down and then just our heel closest to the bar, we lift and tap. Try not to change head height here. We're using our lower abs to brace so that we're able to support our spine without doing this, okay? So pulling up on the lower belly is gonna help you keep a nice neutral spine. For 3, 2, 1 more tap, and then let's lift the heel back up. We're gonna dip down. We're gonna go 3, 2, 1. Lift the leg, punch the arm. 3, 2, 1, out. Making sure this hip, I did an extra one there, sorry, is not hiking up. So think same length in both sides of the body. So this side wants to shorten and lift your hip. Try not to let it. 2 more. 2, 1, take it up. Last one. Let's take it back up. From here, make sure you're not leaning back. If you find yourself leaning back, just drop the leg down a little bit lower, flex your foot, drive your heel down towards the floor, and then point, sweep it back up. We would not be able to work with this range of motion if we didn't have the block. So I want you to really think about lengthening your femur out of your hip socket, creating space in that joint. For 4, 3, lots of core strength required here. 2, last one. Hold it up, make sure these hips are square. I had to drop my hip down a little bit, and then we're gonna bend the knees and the arm, push it out. Really focusing on that press. You have 4, 3, 2, let's do 1 more. We're gonna hold it here. Flex your foot, leg is straight, arm goes up, and then little tiny lifts without moving this hip. Keep it down, so just a little lift. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come on down. And then we're gonna step out just a little bit, and then inside leg goes on the block. Outside leg straight out from the hip, toe pointed, and then crease from your hip to lean. So make sure knee is right under your hip. And then from here, we're going to just lift and tap the toe. Good, lift and tap. Try to keep a nice long spine here. Make sure you're not bending here. We don't want like a C shape. I want you to have a long spine. For 4, 3, 2, you got this. Last one. Let's take it back up. And then we're gonna go forward tap, up and over tap back, but we're not moving anything here, okay? So don't let your body, I'm gonna show you, kind of go along like this for the ride. I want you to keep everything still. Doesn't have to be a big tap forward or back. You don't have to travel very far to feel this work. Good, let's do 1 more forward. 1 more back, and then lift your leg up, straight out from the hip. We're gonna stretch it really straight and then release that super straight. So reach, reach. The bend is going to happen automatically. I want you to focus on the reach, not the bend. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's put the weight behind our knee and then hand to forehead. We're going to rise, bringing shoulders right over hips, and then a side leg lift, and then we lean. Rise, side lift, and lean. So probably feeling this right here in the side body. We're working glute medius and outer thigh for 4, 3, 2, very last one here, and then we're gonna hold that side lift and then just a little tiny lift up, up. Try to keep your heels squeezing to butt. That's gonna hold your weight in place and also activate your hamstring. Little lift for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come on up. You can grab your weight, set it aside, and then block out of the way. We're gonna face the bar. Walk your hips back so your heels are right under your hips, and then let your chest sink down towards the floor. So just a nice stretch up the back of the legs. And then walk your feet wider than hips. We're gonna curl our tailbone up towards the ceiling, letting your chest sink down to the floor. So my back is rounded here. I have my spine in extension. And then we're gonna come to a neutral spine. So think tailbone pointed straight back, no longer up. And then right hand to left toes. You're gonna look under your underarm for the ceiling. Let's replace the hand. We're gonna take left hand down, reaching for right toes. Try to keep your neck in line with spine so your head isn't hanging down. And then let's replace the hand. We're gonna bend the knees, heel toe, feet under hips, and then roll it up and just pedal your heels here. Heels sinking down towards the floor for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come on up. All right, friends, so we are going to come down to the mat. Please bring just your 2 blocks, and if you don't have 2 blocks, bring 1 block and a Pilates ball. We're going to begin our mat work using 2 blocks, or if you don't have 2, you're going to use a Pilates ball, and we're gonna be working posterior chain and core. So 1 block at the head of your mat, and if you have just 1 block, this is gonna be your Pilates ball, okay? And then you're gonna take your other block just off to the side for now. Let's walk our forearms down, and then we're gonna rest our forehead on the block. From here, make sure your knees are right below your hips, and then we're gonna take this leg, extend it back, and then slide your block near your ankle. We're going to bend the knee, toe points up to the ceiling, and knee rests on the block. So I want you to make sure your hips are level here. If your block is too close to the knee, you get this, so your hips aren't level. So really important, I want you to take that block back, probably farther than you think. And then from here, we're gonna brace core. So ribs pulling in, and then I want you to just extend the leg back and tap your knee. I would rather have you take the leg straight back and keep your spine really straight, keep your ribs pull in, then try to lift and round the spine. Once you get this kind of under control where you're not flaring your ribs out, you can think, ooh, maybe I'll lift a little higher this time. So focus on the length, and once you get that without breaking form, then add some height. Good, we're gonna do 2 more. And then we're gonna add on, last one. So let's take it here. We're gonna keep the bend in our knee. You're gonna sweep your leg down towards your mat, knee to block, and extend the leg. Good, so you're gonna really feel the side of your core stabilizing right here as you take the leg out to the side. So lots of core work here. Side, up, extend. Let's do 2 more. Good, last one. And then from here, keep the bend in your knee. We're gonna just lift and tap. We're working here with a reduced range of motion instead of taking our knee all the way down to the floor. So that's gonna create precision. You're gonna be able to really engage your muscles with that smaller range of motion for 4, 3, 2. Last one. Let's take the leg back up and then just a little tiny lift at the top. Try to keep your hips level here. Don't let this hip open up. Keep your hip bones pointed at the floor. Lift 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring your knee down. You can take knees wide. Maybe sit back on that other block for child's pose. Good, and then bring it back up. So we're gonna get the other side. You don't need to move if you don't want to. I'm just gonna switch so you can see my moving side. And the setup's really important, so we'll start from the beginning. Walking the forearms down, resting the head on the block if you want, you don't have to. And then we're making sure our knees are directly below our hips. We're gonna take our moving leg, extend it, and then place the block closer to your ankle than your knee. Make sure your hips are the same height here as you place your knee on the block. And then we're gonna take that leg and extend it back, bend it down. Good, so once you get used to doing that, keeping your ribs pulling in without changing the shape of your spine, then you can slowly start to lift it a little bit higher if you feel like it. You have 4, 3, 2, last one. We're gonna hold that bend. Inhale. As you exhale, we're gonna take the knee off the block, sweep it down over the floor, tap, and extend. Good, so lots of sneaky core work here. Hamstrings and glutes are the main workers, but you'll also probably feel a lot of back and shoulders, as well as that core work. Let's do 2 more. Good, last one. And then we're gonna keep the bend in the knee. We're gonna just lift, tap the block. Working with just that top half range of motion on our glute kick. Getting a really deep engagement in the hamstring and the glute max for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take it back up and then just a little tiny lift at the top. Little lift. Up, up, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bring your knee down. Good, I'm gonna go wide with my knees and just take a little child's pose. All right, and then when you're ready, up to you. If you have 2 blocks, if you wanna use 2, you can stack them. Otherwise, just 1 block is gonna be fine. We're gonna place our blocks at the end of our mat. And then come on down to your back with 1 shin on the blocks. So the blocks are here to limit range of motion and help us out with keeping our core engaged. So we're not arching our back, we're not letting our hip flexors take over. It's really helpful here. And then opposite leg is gonna be bent. We're gonna find a neutral spine and pelvis here. So as if you had like a tiny blueberry under your back. So we're not pressing our spine into the floor. And then hands behind the head. From here, I want you to take a really big inhale. As you exhale, we're gonna slowly blow out our air, lift our leg, and then reach 1 arm, keeping shoulders pointed straight ahead, and then inhale on the way down, slow lower, and then exhale, we're gonna bring knee to opposite elbow, and bring it down. So inhale, exhale, inhale on the way down, exhale, twist. Moving really slowly. So the breath is really important here. I wanted to just be silent for a minute and give you the breath cues. Let's do 1 more of each. Lower your leg as slowly as possible, inhaling on the way down. And then exhale. Lower down slowly, bring your head all the way down to the mat, and then we're gonna just gently slide the blocks over to your opposite shin. We're gonna find a neutral pelvis with this foot bracing on the floor. hands at the base of your neck, and then big inhale. Exhale, lift the leg. We're gonna reach one arm, keeping the chest pointed straight ahead. Inhale on the way down, fill the lungs up. Exhale, twist. So again, just listen to the breath cues. We're gonna exhale, inhale down, and exhale. 2 more of each, please. Good, last one. And bring it down, good. So let's come on up for our stretch. So for those, when we had the straight leg, you probably felt rectus abdominis, which is this muscle here, your 6-pack muscle that connects ribs to pelvis. And then when we did the crunch, we worked obliques, so side of core. Oh, those are hard. So if you have a block, you can sit on your block if you feel like it. And then we're gonna take one leg out to the side, opposite leg goes down. So you're gonna feel a nice stretch, having that elevation in this hip. And then we're gonna reach for our toes and reach up and over. So I always think reaching for top corner of the room, so we're lengthening here, we're not doing this. So think up, keeping your sit bones grounded on the block. And then we're gonna lower the arm, take it across the chest. Nice low back release. All right, and then we're gonna come up, let's switch sides. Good, reaching for your toes and then reaching up for the top corner of the room, keeping especially this sit bone grounded. You'll feel a nice stretch in this leg as well. And then we're gonna take the arm across, nose towards knee. And then come on up. So if you have your blocks and you'd like to incorporate them, if you have 2, you can incorporate the blocks. Otherwise, if you only have 1, just keep your hands on the floor for today. So we're gonna step our left foot between the hands and then we're gonna raise our right knee. Pressing through that back heel just to lengthen, stretch this hip flexor. And then let's take a big inhale. As you exhale, we're gonna keep our hips square. We're gonna push our hips back, flat back, extending this forward leg. And then I'm gonna move my block to show you. We're gonna maybe raise the ball of the foot. So up to you if you wanna do that one. It really stretches the hamstring. Try to keep a flat back. Make sure you're not rounding your spine here. And then bring your toes down. We're gonna bend into that forward knee. And then let's take our left hand up to the ceiling for a twist. Gazes on your fingertips. Replace the hand. And then we're gonna lower our back knee. You're gonna step your left foot back. Right foot steps through. Let's tuck left toes under. Raise the left knee. And then really press through your back heel, just lengthening your hip flexor. Good, let's square our hips. So both hips pointed straight ahead, big inhale. As you exhale, we're gonna shift our hips back, extending that forward leg, if that feels good for you. And then if you want, you can raise your toes on your forward leg. Try not to arch or round your back here. And then bring your toes down. We're gonna shift our weight forward, sinking into that lunge, and then right hand goes up. Eyes on your fingertips. And then let's replace the hand. From here, we're gonna bring our back knee down and then step both of your knees together. You can set your blocks aside. And then from here, walk your knees out wide, big toes together. We're gonna sit back onto our feet. And then walk your fingertips out of your shoulder socket. So literally do a little walk with your fingertips. See if you can create a little bit more length. And then let's walk our hands over to the right with your left hand on top, and then walk your fingertips out a little bit here and then press your left hip back. Oh, these feel so nice for the back and the side body and also the inner thighs. And then walk your hands to center. We're gonna walk our hands over to the left with the right hand on top, and then let's walk our fingertips out and then begin to press your right hip back behind you. Good, let's walk our hands to center. And then from here, we're gonna shift our weight forward, toes tuck under, and then hips lift up and back to down dog. You can pedal your knees a little bit here, letting your heels sink down towards the mat. Good, let's do one more each side. And then step, hop or walk, feet to hands, hands to feet, and just roll up slowly. Take your time coming up. All right, friends, that is it for our class today. As always, please let me know if there's anything I can do to help you get more out of your home workouts, or if you have questions on anything, please let me know. Angela@thegoodbar.com, and I'll see you next workout.